Hello and welcome to another Warcraft III audio commentary. Today we're going to be watching another W3 arena map game. This is actually a special ladder game from what I can tell. From what I've been told, it's between two good players. I don't know their AKAs. I do believe one of them is in DkH and the other one, I don't know. I don't know anything about the other one actually. But either way, let's go ahead and get into this game. We will say that the map is Terenas Stand. This is a 1 vs 1, and we have ImHappyTauren spawning in as the orange orc in the lower right versus bufftalons spawning in as the blue night elf in the upper left. And I do once again believe that this player is on DkH, but I don't know who it is. But yeah, anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and see that the elf player is going to begin to get an AOW creep off. Very standard. Get this position right. Good spot here. You can go ahead and creep out this camp right here as well as this camp with that, no problem. And if he uses his Wisp and his Ancient of War and his Archer quite right, he will be able to pick up a lightning shield on that Archer and use it to help creep those out a little bit faster. Of course, once again, you don't want to actually let the lightning shield get the last hit on anything because, well, that actually will deny you experience. And we do see, of course, the Demon Hunter about to pop out now, coming in here. And there's the lightning shield. And in fact, I just realized I had my health bar is off there for a little bit. Let me turn those right back on. So there you can see that he is going to go ahead and creep that out. We do see it looks like down here for the Orc player, he is going Blade Master first, opening with that, getting a Grunt out second, going with a slightly late shop. Of course, that will allow him to just come down here and creep out this camp as well as this camp, and then he'll have a shop up for himself. Very nice and efficient, and we can see, of course, that is being used very effectively right there to do some additional damage to that Renegade Wizard. You can see picking up some experience on that Demon Hunter right there, picking up a nice Claws of Attack +6 over here for the Blade Master. You can see his item is going to be Ring of Protection +2. So better item for the Demon Hunter than for the Blade Master. And we can see, of course, the rest of the things are just going to be crept out. Of course, the Orc players, I don't know, surprised about something. I'm not quite sure what it is. But over here we can see that the Ancient of War is going to come right over here to the shop. Going to see that Demon Hunter coming out. Can see a Wisp coming in to repair this Ancient of War. And he's going to Ancient of War creep this as well. So just nicely moving across, being super fast. And that's one of the dangers of playing against Elf on this map. They can pick up level 3 so very quickly if you don't harass them. It's absolutely very incredibly fast how fast they pick up level 3. As you can see, he's going to be very close. Once he creeps out this, all he has to creep is this camp right there as well, and he will be level 3. He's going to be right about here after this creep is done. Does pick up Sentry Wards, which are really good items. Of course, drops 1 just in case the Blade Master comes in and try to steal any more experience. Not going to happen, of course. The Blade Master is on the bottom side of the map, and you can see that he has gone ahead and picked up a Circlet Soul to Steep. He grabbed some healing items as well as a Clarity and a Scroll of Speed using that healing salve on his Blade Master. For some reason, deciding to tank this, and which is a little odd to me because he did have that healing salve charge on the Blade Master and he opened with the Blade Master. So I don't know. It seemed to me if he had just let this one tank right, his Grunt that had already taken about 100 damage, tank that, would have been slightly better because the healing salve on the Blade Master would have healed the Blade Master back up a bit more, and then the Grunt would have he would have been using 2 charges of healing salve either way, but would have, I believe, gotten more overall hit points from that, but who knows. It might, I mean, I could be wrong about that. That's just my initial reaction to that. And you can see down here, he is deciding to come down here and creep out this green camp. Doing, of course, it looks like a 2 Grunt tech. We do have a Wisp coming in here. A Demon Hunter is going to go ahead and pick up his Staff Teleportation, staffing into the Orc space. Going to cancel a burrow right off the bat. Here we can see a War Mill as well. Going to drop a Sentry Ward right in the Orc space. A nice position for that ward, of course. And if that Orc decides to rebuild this burrow right here, I can tell you a couple of dangerous things about this positioning. One, there is a possibility of being sappered and come down with this laboratory. You can run up a sapper right here. If there are 3 burrows right there, you just burrow the sapper, the middle one. If your Demon Hunter's there, you can pick off the other 2 very quickly in just 2 or 3 hits. I don't know how many hits. I guess it would take probably maybe 5 or 6. Because in order you'd have to hit in the dead center to do the same amount of damage. Or you could potentially just take out 2 with 1 sapper and then worry about the 3rd one. But either way, we can see that Demon Hunter coming right back in to get some more harass off. Going to be pushed away by these burrows. And we can see that he's going to go for the Voodoo Lounge instead now. We can see that's going to force the Orc player to come back to his base. Of course, he is now level 3 on that Blade Master. So his timing is pretty good. Going to go ahead and come out of that Windwalk. Going to get mana burned right before he can go into a second Windwalk almost immediately. If he opens up right now, he's going to get mana burned 1 more time and not going to get that Windwalk off. So a little bit unfortunate play right there for the Orc player. But oh well. And then we can see that the Blade Master, the Demon Hunter, is going to run away. Picking up a Beastmaster second with that Archer at the tavern right there, we can see that the Ancient of War has moved into position. At some point, he will be able to creep out this with that Ancient of War, no problem. We can see is now starting his tier, he is tier 2, I'm sorry, getting a Ancient of Wind down, and it looks like that's all he has so far. Of course, he does have those Moonwells. Just going to go ahead and pick up a Staff of Preservation on the Demon Hunter, and he still has that Staff of Teleportation on the Demon Hunter as well. Probably going to switch one of those to the Beastmaster in a little bit. Maybe, or maybe not. We do see him staffing down here. It looks like actually to a Wisp. Wherever that Wisp was. It might have just died, in fact. Yeah, I think it died. But here we can see that the Blade Master is going to just go ahead and open up on this Demon Hunter. We can see the Demon Hunter is slightly surrounded at this point. Maybe forced to TP out if he doesn't get in a better position here very quickly. Could go ahead and pass this Staff of Preservation to the Beastmaster, but it's probably not going to happen. But, oh, actually going to be able to get away. What do you know? Really nicely done by the Demon Hunter, getting out of that. Going to cancel this building as well as this one down here. So that's both the Bestiary and the Spirit Lodge. We do have 2 Quill Beasts are in this base right now, harassing that Shadow Hunter does come out. Shadow Hunter going to be in a bad spot to actually, do anything effective. He's just going to be attacking 2 Quill Beasts. Might get 1 kill here. Looks like it's just going to expire. So yeah, unfortunately for him, he's just going to have to take a little bit of damage as he spawns. Not really the greatest thing, but of course it's a kind of a negligible amount of damage anyway. As you can see, it looks like we'll get the experience for that 1 Quill Beast, so I'll take that back. That was a pretty good move. Overall, we can see a Staff Preservation being used on that Archer as it was being chased by the Blade Master. Going to be able to get that Blade Master mana burned one more time right when he's at 64 mana, bringing him back down to 0. And of course, we can see that the Elf player now has begun his tier 3 tech about halfway through it. Does have 2 Ancient of Winds down, beginning to get the dot research training going, as well as getting some dots out of the other Ancient of Wind. Now you can see that Demon Hunter was going ahead and just chasing the Blade Master just a little bit longer. Going to get 1 more mana burn off, most likely, I think, or maybe not. Actually, I don't think he did. And yeah, and the Demon Hunter is just going to chill out, and I think he just needs to wait just a little bit of time. At tier 3, he will be able to pick up a Tinker most likely as his 3rd hero, because that is the normal 3rd hero for the strategy. Here we can see that the Hex being used on the Demon Hunter. We do see, of course, a mana burn was to open that fight on the Blade Master, but for the most part, the Demon Hunter is just going to run away. And that Shadow Hunter is really hurting for experience right now. As you can see, he's only at 60 experience. And here you can see that the Demon Hunter at level 3, Beastmaster at level 1. You can see those dots are coming out right now. 2 out at the moment. We do have 2 more being pumped. And we do see Clarity being used on the Beastmaster. Do you again, once again, so I have the Staff of Preservation and the Staff of Teleportation on the Demon Hunter. It's odd for that because normally you don't expect to see it. Normally you expect to see one of these staffs on one hero and the other staff on the other hero, and the idea there is that if you want to staff out your Beastmaster, then you can, and you have the Staff of Teleportation on him, you can staff him to your Moonwells and then teleport right back into the fight. Or you could do it with the other heroes, where you could have the Staff of Teleportation on your Demon Hunter, and then the Staff of Preservation on the Beastmaster, and then staff out the Demon Hunter and TP back in after you've used Moonwells. But here we see the Pink Tinker has been picked up for the 3rd hero. We can see now it looks like Dot Master Training is being researched here. We do see an Ancient of Wind. We do have the Demon Hunter coming in here. Going to go ahead and do something with his items. I think, yeah, he passed the Staff Preservation over to the Beastmaster, getting staff back to the base, picking up an Orb of Venom. That's a very powerful item. Of course, at tier 3, you always want to get your orb if you have one of the good ones. For example, everyone except human. Then the Orb of Fire, not really a great orb. It only adds 5 splash damage, but the big benefit of the Orb of Fire is just that it allows your heroes to attack air. So hey, whatever. But of course, it definitely pales in comparison to the other orbs, where Night Elf's Orb of Venom allows your Demon Hunter or whoever also to attack air. Of course, all orbs allow your hero to attack air. But more importantly, for the Orb of Venom, it adds a poison attack. As you can see, just poisons the enemy units for 6 seconds, which is a good thing. You can essentially, especially against Orc where they have Spiritlings, you can just attack different units, and then it really does a massive amount of damage. Just the poison takes away on 6 or 7 units, and with Spiritlink, it really just does a lot of overall damage. So it's something that is very easily countered with, say, a Scroll of Healing or 2, but those are expensive, and of course, you're going to end up in a better spot over time. We do see that Healing Salve has been dropped. We see the Orc player has been creepjacked right here. Could have picked up that Healing Salve with his Blade Master, but he didn't. So going to go ahead and see 2 of those charges going on to that Beastmaster right there. We do see one of those Forest Row Berserkers that had been picked up by the Orc player being taken down. And the Orc player now is on their full-on retreat. And he did speed scroll out of there, but of course the Demon Hunter is very fast. He does have boots of speed. Now I'm just trying to chase down one of these grunts. As you can see, not really a lot that the Orc player can do right here. He gets cycloned on the Shadow Hunter. This could be a really bad position for the Shadow Hunter. We do see the Blade Master coming back in here now to help fight. Gonna go ahead and get the TP because he knows he's not gonna be able to win this fight. He's going to lose heroes if he just tries to run away. And we saw a Dot getting very low on HP, but it's just gonna get staffed out of the fight right there. No problem. We have 2 Watchtowers being used. They're thrown down in the Orc's base. A bit of an odd choice. I guess he's actually going for a Fortress tech right here, so he will be able to get up the Fortified Armor tech very soon. which you absolutely need if you're going to make towers versus mass dots, because mass dots they just do Druids of the Talons, they do magic damage, and as you can see, this takes extra damage from magic attacks. So it's something that you definitely want to get as a tech right there, and we'll probably be seeing that coming in. There it is right there. Reinforced Defense is a very important tech. You're going to see the Blade Master finishing this creep off. Going to go ahead and pick up the Tome of Strength, which is a nice item. Here comes that AOW creep right here for the elf player on this base. Going to be able to go ahead and just get a little more experience. As you can see, level 2 on the Tinker, level 2 on the Beastmaster, and level 3 on the Demon Hunter. We do have some Fairy Dragons out as well at this point. Fairy Dragons will be effective versus the Spirit Walkers that are... No. We actually are seeing Witch Doctor Master Training. This looks to be a bit of maybe a bit of the Lordo strategy being used here by the Orc player, actually. And I didn't even notice it until just now. What do you know? Yeah, he's doing a double Spirit Lodge. Oh, I thought that was a Bestiary. Okay, so that's double Spirit Lodge. We do see it looks like Spirit Walkers and Witch Doctors are going to be the choices that we see in this game. We do have that Sentry, the Hawk out as the second skill up for the Beastmaster, of course. And that's going to allow him to scout out those Sentry wards and pick them off as we just saw. That'll be very nice and very effective. He does need to be able to do that. And of course, now it makes sense that he has those 2 Watchtowers, because he's going to be able, or going to need, to be able to actually outlast the orc or the elf for just a little while. Here we do see some bears coming in, 2 Ancient of Lores, 4 buff talons. As you can see, he hasn't actually started researching any or making any bears, but he is researching the Druid of the Claw Adept training, and we'll probably see that go up to the Master training as well here very shortly. And we might even see an expansion coming in, maybe from buff talons at this point. We'll have to wait and see exactly how he decides to play this out. But now that he knows he's going to be up against something similar to the Lordo strategy, if not the Lordo strategy exactly, because I don't know the strategy well enough. But here we do see it looks like a Tauren Chieftain is coming out for the 3rd hero for the Orc player, so it's definitely looking a lot like the Lordo strategy. Here we do see that the Blade Master has been cycloned right now. He did drop a Gauntlet of Strength right over there. He wanted to steal an item. Looks like he's not going to be able to do that. Picks that Gauntlet of Strength back up and runs away. Of course, with that Hawk there, it does allow them, the Night Elf, to see invisible units, which allows him, of course, to simply cyclone the Blade Master whenever it comes close. So not a huge deal there for the Night Elf. He doesn't really have to worry about that. We do have, of course, the Witch Doctors running around the match, just trying to play some wards, but once again, with that Hawk out, he does have to be a little bit careful, knowing that they can be picked off, and he needs to be careful and not lose a Witch Doctor, especially because if it gets caught, it's going to die, because once it's cyclone just one time, it's up in the air for 20 seconds. The Elf can get any kind of surround on it if he wants to, or any other such thing. And he probably, they're not exactly the fastest unit, so you probably wouldn't even need to worry about that too much. But here we do see buff talons going for an expansion attempt right now, and making a smart play by going for the expansion attempt at the same time as he begins to apply pressure, just by moving into a very close position to the Orc's base. The Orc knows that he has to defend his base right now. And generally against good players, if this happens to you, you can generally expect that an expansion is going up in these sort of situations where you're trenched into your base and you know that you can't really push out, and your opponent's not really pushing, but he's just kind of sitting outside your base. There's a really good chance that at that point he is going for the expansion, and as you can see, of course, buff talons is doing just that right now. Now we do see up here that still using that Hawk to try to pick off these Sentry wards, having these Sentry wards placed just all over the place. They're very effective, and you really want to have them. Of course, seeing some stasis traps as well. Stasis trap, of course, gives you a fairly large AoE, about something like this big or so. And essentially, if any enemy unit walks into that AoE, what happens is it takes about a second. Well, it takes, I believe, 3 seconds to arm. And when it arms, it actually goes invisible. As you can see, it's invisible right now. But once it's armed, if an enemy unit walks into that radius, it takes about a second or a second and a half to go off. And once it goes off, it stuns every enemy unit in that radius for, I believe, 3 seconds, and I believe 1 or 2 seconds on heroes. So I'm not exactly sure of the exact values, but I should look that up. But I didn't know that we were doing the Lordo strategy today, and the last time that I did look it up, we didn't really get to see him. So the last time I watched the Lordo, so oh well. But yeah. Anyway. It's not a huge loss at any rate. We do see, of course, the Orc player up here creeping out, getting a Claws of Attack +6 on that Blade Master that brings him up to +19 damage with the Orb of Lightning, Circlet of Ability, and 2 Claws of Attack +6. And you see that not really going to be a good spot for the Orc up here. I don't think he has the army quite yet to fight this opponent. As you can see, both players very close to each other. We do see that the Orc player now running up this way, running over towards this expansion, but he's got that Night Elf right on his heels. Might even lose a Witch Doctor right now just as he runs over here. Might be seeing him TP out right here, maybe. I don't know. Does he have a TP? Oh, he has a TP on his Tauren Chieftain. He'll be able to save that Witch Doctor with a very nice healing wave. and a little bit of micro. Of course, the Night Elf player will be able to go ahead and start rebuilding his gold mine that was, or the entangled gold mine that was picked off right there. Was it worth 350 gold? Not really, but I don't believe the Orc player expected the Night Elf player to be right here, and unfortunately his scouting kind of was denied. But here we can see that at the same time it was well worth it. Actually, I will say definitely well worth it, because we do have that the Orc player has been able to throw down 4 watchtowers down here, and those are fortified watchtowers, which means they're going to be able to hold their position fairly easily. And we can actually see that the tiny Great Hall has been used for the Orc player, so now he does have an expansion up, or at least it's about to be up, and that'll deal with this no problem. Sorry, I'm going to make a little bit of moving noise right here. I am no longer at the dorm, of course. I am home for the holidays. The room that I'm in, not really the greatest for recording, but hey, whatever. I just want so sometimes though, you'll hear background noises and stuff, and as well you might hear me moving in this chair, because it's a very comfortable chair, but it doesn't have any kind of back support at all. So yeah, but anyway, so that is the little rundown. We do see, of course, for the lull of the moment, we do have this Great Hall has been placed down. It is up and running now. We do have those 5 peons getting gold out of the gold mine, the 4 watchtowers. The Orc player definitely ready to hold this position. We do see, of course, bears coming down here. 2 bears, 1 in Druid with the claw form, 1 in bear form, and just going to go ahead and see that hawk again being used to deny a sentry ward right there. Of course, you do see these stasis traps are being placed down. Now, I think these might be too close to each other, because here's the thing about stasis traps. If one goes off and any other wards are in its radius, which is, again, about, I would say it's about like this. It's a fairly large radius. Well, actually, I guess the radius is that. The area, if you would say the area, or the perimeter or whatever. And then any other stasis traps in that area actually are immediately destroyed. So I'm not sure that this is, that might be like on the dead-on edge of the area. I can't quite tell, but you definitely want to have those being outside of each other's area, because otherwise one of them will be completely useless essentially. So yeah, not a big deal, not a huge deal, but it's for a good reason, because in Reign of Chaos they didn't actually do that, and for a while what we saw is people just spamming stasis traps, and essentially what happened was people would just be perma-stunned. So your entire army just perma-stunned and just picked off by witch doctors. And of course back then witch doctors did piercing damage, so they did about the same damage as archers do now, which is a scary amount of damage when you have, like, you know, 70 or 80 food of witch doctors. But of course, there was also, you'd always use some blood, or some shamans in there for bloodlust as well, which made your witch doctor damage just do insane amount of damage. Of course, the shamans also did piercing damage as well, so it was kind of crazy. And you could creep to level 6 if you wanted to. You could creep to level 10 if you wanted to, and the map had enough experience. So it was one of those silly kind of maps. But down here we do see an Ancient of War being placed by bufftalons. It's going to be picked off by the Blade Master, just denied, and probably going to see that wisp being detonated at some point very soon. Actually, it looks like someone is trying to TP here. Probably not going to really do a lot with that demon. Okay, I guess he's going to be willing to do this, to just run away on the Blade Master. He could have picked off that Ancient of War. He does have his whole army right here, but say, that's fine. We do, of course, have that the Orc player, the Night Elf player, moving down here right now, going to force the Orc player to run away. A bit just odd that happened, because there is a sentry ward right here, and there's really no reason that the Orc player didn't just move into position to do some more serious damage to that Demon Hunter, simply because with the sentry ward, he was protected, and yeah, of course, I'm sure he has a speed scroll on one of his heroes, yeah, on the Shadow Hunter, so if he had to get out in a pinch, he would have been able to do that as well for only 50 gold. So again, just an odd decision to not go for that, but hey, I understand it, I guess, a little bit, because it's a little risky, but again, with a speed scroll, it's not, and a sentry ward right here, which would have provided about this much vision, it's really not a hugely devastating thing. But hey, whatever. Yeah, so now we do have these 2 players. Looks like they're getting ready to maybe face off. There are now 4 bears in this Night Elf army. Bears, of course, not a bad choice to go for, but they can be eaten by this Kodo Beast. Of course, there's only one Kodo Beast, and he is in the back, just providing a bunch of extra damage. Of course, we do have now the Spirit Links are being cast. There are no Dryads to deal with the Spirit Link, so he's just going to have to rely on the Fairy Fires and the Cyclones. Of course, Cyclone does dispel all the buffs and debuffs on a unit, so if he wants to get rid of some Spirit Link that way, just try to, you know, just try to cycle in some units. Of course, there are this many Spirit Walkers. It's really going to be difficult for him to actually ever deal with the amount of Spirit Link anyway. Too much mana on these Spirit Walkers, really. You can see the fight going underway right now, seeing a Cyclone going off on the Blade Master. Just the orc player backing up, trying to get into a position where these stasis traps will go off. We're going to see one stasis trap going off, as you can see, just getting a bunch of units right there stunned. As you can see, still stunned about 3, 4, 5 seconds, something like that. I think it's a 3-second stun, very, very quick. And there you can see that there's another stun off on that demon hunter this time, and we're just going to see, of course, less time on the heroes. We do see a cyclone going off on that blade master, and the orc player is being forced to actually back off right now. His demon hunter, or blade master, I'm sorry, doesn't have any more mana at this point, actually attacking this fairy dragon. This fairy dragon, of course, being a big nuisance to all of his casters down here. Of course, with the healing wards, it doesn't really do enough damage to actually be a bother. As you can see, healing up just fine between the Spirit Link and the healing wards, no problem. Of course, you're probably going to see a Witch Doctor going down right here to these bears and such. Yes, indeed, we go down to that fairy dragon as he casts his final spell. We do see that Tauren Chieftain taking a lot of damage. Tauren Chieftain going to have to get out of the front. I'm not sure why he's running into the front again. That was a bad decision right there, as you can see, and he did go down for that. A little odd. He could have gotten away, no problem, just by running him back, but again, I don't know why he really ran him in the front. But at any rate, we can see once again the fight underway. You can see a purge getting off on that Druid of the Callan, and a little bit of focus fire could take him down. Gonna get him staffed out actually. Oh, and a hex on the blade master. I'm sorry, on the demon hunter. And actually, I guess it didn't matter because the staff was actually on the beast master all the time. So the demon hunter being hexed didn't really matter, but it was almost enough to deny the staff if he had gotten the right hero and a little bit faster. But yeah, so the Night Elf player has backed off. At this point, there's still an Ancient of War right here just doing nothing. So at this point, we could see maybe the Orc coming in here and picking that off, because you don't really want that sitting there. And you'd like to get your Sentry Wards back up as well. We do see a Tree of Life being taken up here by the Night Elf player, bufftalons. Let's go ahead and do this, because as you can see, well, actually, I can't quite tell where they are now, can I? Yeah, okay. We'll have to wait, I guess. We'll have to wait and see if bufftalons will actually be able to see these towers. It does not look like he can, but there's still 2 more to go up. And yeah, it looks like he can't see those. One reason to always get Ultra Vision once you get a Headhunter's Haul, that would be because if he had that, he would be able to see those towers right now, no problem. And as you can see, these are going to go up. That's 5 towers right there. And once those go up, another tiny Great Hall down right here, and then picking off this Tree of Life should not be a problem, because the elf really will not want to fight in the range of 5 watchtowers like that. So it's a good position by the Orc player. Of course, this as you can see, there's only 4 right here, and the Night Elf player doesn't want to fight in the range of 4, so fighting in the range of 5 definitely not going to be his ideal situation. And we can see bufftalons now breaking upkeep, high upkeep in fact, 83 food for Tauren Chieftain, or ImHappyTauren. We can see he's still at 79 food, does have 2 healing scrolls on 1 healing scroll on the Tauren Chieftain and 1 healing scroll on the Shadowhunter. Here's a tiny Great Hall, and he's going to come up here and he's going to get the deny off on this expansion, most likely. But actually, we can see maybe not, actually, because here comes a TP in from bufftalons on these towers before they finally go up. Going to see one of them going to go down, maybe immediately, maybe not. In fact, here we can see the repair going off on these towers, possibly, yes, indeed, here as the Orc player moves into position, and this could be a really bad spot. This is a terrible spot for bufftalons at this point. We do see a pocket factory up here at the top. You'll be able to use those to beat down on the watchtowers just a little bit, maybe. Here we do see that this fight is now underway. Here comes those Spirit Links. No good position by the Fairy Dragons, and we're seeing the Night Elf player trying to retreat at this point. You're going to see him losing a bear definitely right here, and this expansion attempt is going to be denied as another bear and archer go down as they run away to those towers. Of course, not feeding any experience with those 2 unit kills right there, but that's not a big deal when you're losing expansion right here. So definitely not the position you want to be in. And 4 watchtowers, of course, are up. One of those peons is still alive, and going to make 1 more watchtower. And once this tower goes, this expansion does go down, we're going to see that the tiny Great Hall being used from the Shadowhunter, most likely, to just go ahead and place down an expansion right here. What is that, level 3 on the Shadowhunter? Yes, indeed. Level 4 on that Beast, or Blade Master, and level 1 on that Tauren Chieftain. Very, very close to level 2 on that Tauren Chieftain, in fact. Now down here we can see that there is the Tree of Eternity from the main coming down here towards the bottom part of the map, and there's a Stasis Trap and a Sentry Ward, so the Orc player is well aware that this is going on right now. He doesn't really need to defend this, he knows that, because there are 4 towers right there, and he has a TP on his, who does he have a TP on? I don't know. He doesn't have a TP? Well, he doesn't have a TP. He's very close to his shop, so he can go and pick up a TP. But yeah, this could be bad for him because he might lose these watchtowers. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. He could come in here and push this while he gets a TP. That would be a good idea if you could force the elf player to TP. But the elf player also does not have a TP right now, so this is very odd, very strange play right now. But a TP has been picked up now by the Blade Master. Time to come in here and attack this expansion is probably a good timing. He could potentially actually in the game right now, I think, because if he takes out this expansion, And then there's only this, which isn't even running right now, and the orcs, the elf army, really not that strong besides that. But here we do see the elf player is coming in here to push the orc player's expansion. Here we do see the orc player pushing the night elf player's expansion. Who's in the better spot? I kind of feel like maybe the orc player should TP down here because he doesn't want to lose those towers. If he loses those towers, fighting this is still going to be very difficult, and he could risk losing. But of course, then again, he has a TP and his opponent doesn't, so he can take out that expansion, while the orc player is certainly not going to be able to take out his. But here we do see I believe the demon hunter has just been staffed. Oh no, there's a shredder being staffed right there. I'm not sure what that's all about. But here we do see it looks like now the orc player going for the main. Gonna see a bunch of repair going off onto this great hall. He needs to, or not. Is he gonna just let it fall? He's just gonna let it die. A bit of an odd decision from the orc. I mean, he does have this expansion right here, but it's just an odd play, I think, to trade expansions at this point in the game. Of course, the night elf player is going to have that other expansion. He knows that the night elf player has that other expansion, so all he's doing right now is just trying to deny the night elf player from having from having, what's it called, 2 expansions, which is a bit odd to me. Of course, he is taking out a bunch of Moonwas there. As you can see, bufftalons down to 60 food max. Going to be able to take out 2 more Ancient of Warriors. Actually doing a lot of damage. Okay, I take back what I said. This is actually working out pretty well for this orc player here. Going to take out these lures. It's still odd. It's still an odd play because I think he could have defended his expansion and probably even done a number on that elf army down there at the if he fought that. But again, personal preference, I guess. Yeah, and so of course he's in a good spot here. As long as he can be in a spot for a couple of seconds before the night elf army comes to engage, he can have those sentry or stasis traps placed down, which makes it very, very difficult for the opponent to actually do anything. And here we can see those 2 Ancient of Winds. Those things are uprooted at this point, and it looks like that's going to be the only units that he's going to be able to make us out of those 2 buildings right there. Here we do see, of course, there's a stasis trap right now. We do see this fight going underway right now. A Hex on the Demon Hunter, a Cyclone on the Blade Master. Dispel coming in, hitting both of those guys, hitting the Hawk as well just a little bit, trying to see that orc player back up into a better position here. We see these stasis traps going down as well as the healing wards. Going to see one of those stasis traps being picked off, one of them being used right now, being popped up. A taunt coming in from that mountain giant. Of course, the mountain giant could be a potentially good move. And the orc player now retreating. Will we see a Kodebeast has eaten a bear, and potentially right now we could see a TP coming in from the orc because I think he would be in a good spot right now just to TP out on that Blade Master. As you can see, that Torn Chieftain is getting fairly low. He does still have those 2 healing scrolls, I believe, both of them. Yes, indeed he does. So he's just going to TP out right now. Now that he's definitely had the proper advantage, I would say, from that fight. As you can see, bufftalons down to 65 food, and ImHappyTauren up at 73. Going to lose a spare Witch Doctor right there, though. And he might actually see a bit of a push coming into these towers right here. A bit odd, though. He's got all these presents. All he needs to do is repair these towers. As you can see, doing a ton of damage, absolute ton of damage to that Demon Hunter. Of course, there's still 2 bears up, so we're going to see a rejuvenation being used on that Demon Hunter right there. But that's going to buy enough time for the elf player or the orc player to just walk back up there if he'd like to. And actually can see that the Kodebeast getting TP'd into a terrible spot. Going to see a burrow having to be TK'd right here from the orc player. And that's going to be just to allow that Kodebeast out of the base. Hopefully. Yeah, there it is. And so something's under attack up here. It looks like just the stasis traps going off right now. And yeah, as you can see, just how annoying that can be. Even when he can see it and he just goes for it. Once it pops up, once it comes out of invisibility and it's being armed, etc., then that's when it's in a bit of a painful situation. Here we do see a Great Hall being rebuilt by the orc player. As the orc player comes over here, and the night elf player is coming down here to try to defend his only expansion at this point. He needs to keep this alive, and on top of that, he is going to try to build 2 burrows right there, or I'm sorry, Ancient of Warriors right there, and those are going to be very important because he needs to have those out. But here we do see that there's a Fairy Fire on the Blade Master, as the Blade Master now runs away all the way over here. And of course, with the Fairy Fire, that does give vision to the Night Elf player. Gonna go ahead and have that dispelled. Plus, if it gives you minus armor, you don't really want to deal with that. But at this point, we do see that if the Orc player simply waits it out, he's going to be in a pretty good spot because he does have 1 expansion up here, and he's gonna have a 2nd expansion down here, and that does mean he will have 2 to 1 gold income compared to this Night Elf because he only has 1 expansion. Who knows? I'm not really sure if he's going to be able to, if he wants to push this. If he pushes this out, I think he could. I mean, if he kills this Tree of Eternity, bufftalons is going to be in a terrible position. But we do have these 2 Ancient of Winds coming down here, just providing extra amounts of everything, really. Extra units for the fight, just doing some damage. As you can see, 7 armor, 7 fortified armor, and 900 life. It's a lot. 38 to 46 damage on a slow attack, but still fairly large. Here we do see that this fight could be going underway right now. As you can see, the pocket factory immediately being picked off. You don't want to let that stand up and running, because that will do so much damage. Those things at level 2 do, I believe, 40 damage when they explode to your units. But here we do see them trying to go ahead and go for those fairy dragons if you can. Just going to see a couple of those being used. Those mana flares being used right there. Going to see maybe one of those go down. No, indeed. Just going to leave those up with these healing wards in the back. Not really a huge problem. We do have a shredder inside of the orc player's army at this point. Just seeing maybe a little bit of damage on that tinker, but of course the tinker not in a bad spot with that potion of healing as well as a scroll of healing on him. He should be just fine. You see that blade master is actually kind of surrounded right now. Doesn't have enough mana to actually get out, but he does have a potion of greater healing. Being cyclone as well. I think being cyclone right now is probably the worst choice for the Night player. I think he could have just went straight for him. But either way, we're going to see that the Beastmaster has gone down. Unfortunately, Tauren Chieftain also dying as well right now. And yeah, I'm going to see another bear dying right here. Of course, level 5 being picked up by that Blade Master, and level 4 being picked up now by the Tinker. So we can see once again the Orc player is just backing away. His Blade Master now has 75 mana, so he can Windwalk out of this bad spot that he's in currently, and he'll be just fine. Of course, he's not going to get Fairy Fired if he Windwalks immediately, because well, he might, but I don't think he will. But of course, if he does get Cyclone, it won't really matter, because if he's in Windwalk, he's going to be just fine. Of course, because of that, that is because it dispels any kind of debuffs, and he'd come out of the Cyclone in invisible. So he'd be just fine, but he really needs to do something with that Blade Master. Yeah, back there, he's not really all that effective. Here we can see coming in here and going for that Tinker. Of course, going to get Cycloned once again. There's now a Dryad inside of this army as well. Here we do see it looks like Spirit Walkers are at Master Training at this point. Going to see them being reviving each other. Of course, that is their master spell. They can revive Taurens, which of course Spirit Walkers are Taurens. Of course, Taurens are also Taurens. Unfortunately, Tauren Chieftain is not a Tauren. Don't know how that happens, but hey, that's Warcraft 3 for you. But we do see a nice pocket factory being placed down right here. Of course, you can send those right into that Great Hall if you wanted to, but it looks like he doesn't. And once again, we do see this Orc player just keeps on moving back. We can see this Orc player down to 56, 54 food. Buff Talons up to 60 food. So 52 food now for the Orc player. We're just seeing that the Orc player is unfortunately being destroyed by the fact that the Cyclone is keeping this Blade Master in the air. And he's not getting the spells off with these Spirit Walkers. It's odd. He has plenty of mana, 600 mana on at least 2 Spirit Walkers. He could be getting the spells off right now. He could easily be winning this fight. I think all he has to do is just get those spells off, and he could be doing it right now. I don't know why he's not dispelling that Blade Master. I couldn't tell you. That's really an odd choice, because he could have really killed that Blade Master. I think he could have killed that Demon Hunter probably, because if that Blade Master just gotten one purge off before that Blade Master, the Demon Hunter had gotten to that Goblin Merchant, he would have been just fine. But either way, it looks like that's how it's going to play out. We do see, of course, that Tinker, same situation really with the Tinker. Tinker also very low, Demon Hunter very low. I mean, really bad play, I think, from the Orc player right there. Just a really bad play. I don't like to say that against players, but he had the mana. And to have that Blade Master out of the fight, of course, we could have seen lots of more Cyclones coming in from the dots. But as you can see, I mean, I don't know. It just seems to me like when you have 2 full mana Spirit Walkers, that it would be well worth dispelling those, especially when they're even if you only got 1 or 2 hits in each dispel on those heroes, that could have been well worth it. I mean, it might have been the difference, but hey, whatever. You see this fight going underway now, seeing a Cyclone being tough. We're not even seeing Spirit Link here, which is a bit odd. Why aren't we seeing at least Spirit Link being Spirit Linked right now? It's like he forgot he has Spirit Walkers at this point. There are Masters, so their mana regeneration is super good right now, and they have a lot of mana pools, and they're just not using their abilities, which is strange as all get out. I don't understand it. But and there are healing words, but those are taking a while as well. I feel like the Orc player just maybe playing on tilt at this point, just keeps backing up and going to maybe he's lagging right now. I can't tell you. I don't know. But here we do see that the Shadowhunter taking a lot of damage, using a healing scroll, trying to keep that Shadowhunter alive. Probably going to see the Shadowhunter going down right now. As you can see, it's slow poisoned by those Dryads, and down goes the Shadowhunter at this point. Yeah, so this really odd play coming in right now. Perfect time for a dispel. There's one, but he could have got both the Cyclones, but he didn't. So again, the odd play from the Orc, really odd play. But yeah, so the fight keeps going on. I mean, without the Shadowhunter, it's still going to happen. We do see, of course, the Orc player now just trying to macro up to 65 food. Bufftalons at 67 food in this fight now. Once he can get a little bit of damage onto those dots, he can start taking a little bit of advantage, as you can see, picking off a couple of units. But again, all these Cyclones, finally seeing some Spirit Link being cast by the Orc player, and indeed, the fight just once again really looks like it's going to be favored for the the Night Elf player, as you can see, especially with this line of Dryads in front of those dots. You can't really attack the dots. And the Dryads, of course, are immune to the magic units, the magic dealing units that he has right there, which is all of those casters, the Troll Witch Doctors, and the Spirit Walkers. That's why he's adding, it looks like, some Troll Headhunters, which can deal with those Dryads, no problem. You see this Demon Hunter very low on HP, but he is using a Potion of Invulnerability right now, and honestly, he does have a Scroll of Healing, and he's really not in any danger as long as this Blade Master is not on the fight. I mean, the rest of these units not doing a whole lot of damage. As you can see, bufftalons still at 65 food. Orc player down to 51 food. The Orc player really not doing well in these fights. Again, not really utilizing all the abilities I think he should be using. But it looks like now he's going to be able to start to turn this fight around finally after quite some time and force the TP. Could have killed a couple more units there if he just microed a little better, but whatever. He has lost his expansion at this point, and unfortunately for him, that is not going to be good. Going to be able to pick off these 2 Ancient of Winds, but it looks like the Orc player has decided to transition out of Dryads at this, or I'm sorry, out of dots at this point. He still has some dots up, but not really a lot. Of course, he still has in place an expansion right here. So both players are now at 1 base, as you can see right now. The Night player has a little bit more gold in his base, but that's, for the most part, I mean, that's pretty much the current situation. Both players at 1 base. Of course, also for the Night Elf player, he's not in a terrible spot because if this runs out, he can uproot this and move it over here fairly easily if this isn't a defended location. So, it's interesting. Maybe, again, it's just weird that the Orc player quit using Spirit Link and he wasn't really using his Dispels and he wasn't really using his healing wards as well as he had been earlier in the game. So really odd. I mean, once the elf player started getting really aggressive positioning and splitting the Blade Master away from the rest of the Night Elf army, that was a really good play by the Orc player. But again, you know, I feel like just the Orc player could have done that a lot better in the past, 10 minutes of this game. I feel like, I mean, don't get me wrong though, it's been almost non-stop fighting for some time, which wears down a player, absolutely. And I'm not trying to insult the player, certainly not trying to insult him. I just mean that from my commentary point of view, it looks like he could have done a lot better with if he had just been using his abilities and such. But now we do see, of course, the Peon coming in here to scout out this expansion coming in from the Night Elf. So now we do see, of course, the Night Elf attempt at getting an expansion up. Of course, the Orc also getting an attempt expansion up right now. We can look at the food counts. Orc at 61 food and bufftalons at 59 food. So there you have it. We see these Clockwork Goblins coming here. Now this is really a good position for this Pocket Factory because the little Clockwork Goblins, they can only run so far before they just explode. But when they explode, they do about 40 damage a hit. I believe it's 40 damage a hit at level 3, and I believe it's 80 damage a hit at level 3. Yeah, it's 80 damage when they explode. The explosions do 80 damage to all the units around it, buildings included, at level 3. This is the level 3 Pocket Factory. As you can see, the Tinker is level 5, and that's really nice. You can just watch how much damage that does. It's a lot. So that Pocket Factory is posing a serious threat right now to the Orc player, and he's just going to have to just deal with that as long as he can. Of course, if we just keep seeing those Tinker throwing down those Pocket Factories, only 125 mana when he has 480. That's not a bad amount. You can just sit there in the back, keep slowing this Pocket Factory down. It lasts for 40 seconds, so he's not really in a bad spot, but the Orc player going to go ahead and get a little bit aggressive here. A bit odd to get this aggressive. He could just back off a little bit and just stay back, wait for the position for the Orc player to come to him. Going to go ahead and lose that Torn Chieftain, looks like. Down it goes. Going to lose a Troll Berserker as well, yeah. So again, that very aggressive positioning not helping the Orc player at all. He needs those wards that he has. He needs to have Spirit Link, and again, he's not using Spirit Link. He's not using his abilities. I don't know what he's doing, but I feel like with Spirit Link, I feel like if he had the healing wards and the stasis traps and he was doing a defensive positioning right now, he would be in a much better position. We can see a level 6 Demon Hunter being picked up. Metamorphosis has been used. Metamorphosis coming in here, and this could be a huge problem. We can see that Tinker is taking a lot of damage. You can see the Blade Master getting very, very low. You can see the Tinker being stabbed out, and here comes a TBN from that level 5 Blade Master as he is about to die. And of course, that Shadow Hunter being very low as well. Level 6 Demon Hunter going to be able to easily win that fight, no problem. As you can see, just doing a ton of damage. Going to take out that tower, take out this expansion. Yeah, this Orc player unfortunately has no option to defend that base at this point whatsoever. Blade Master is level 5. Going to come in here, maybe try to take out this expansion. Keep the players both on one base at this point would be a good idea.
Our sacred grove is being
but because of course, if you lose your base, the best play there is to try to keep your opponent from having another base as well. And yeah, so we can see that going straight for the Entangled Goldmine. I believe that is just the Demon Hunter. Yes, indeed, just the Demon Hunter. You can take just the Demon Hunter. Come on, come on. You have a Blade Master. He's level 5. You can take just the Demon Hunter with just your Blade Master and your Shadow Hunter. Ah, what are you doing? Why did you run away? I know it's a strong ultimate. I know it is a really strong ultimate, but hey, one, it was about to wear off, and two, you got a Blade Master, which is also a really, really powerful hero. It can deal with the Metamorphosis Demon Hunter if it's level 5 without a problem. And if it's just the Demon Hunter, you know, that's in Metamorphosis. And here comes the rest of the Night Elf army, at least part of it. The Dryads, of course, they're going to be much faster than the rest of the units, and we can see that this is going to be another fight going underway. But here it comes. The Orc player is going to be forced to retreat once again. He cannot take this fight in this position. Finally using a Dispel right there on that Blade Master to get him out of that Cyclone. But of course, he could lose his Demon Hunter or Blade Master right here. As you can see, it's about dispelling it right then. Probably not the best idea to cyclone it. I'll be honest, be honest with you, because if it's in Cyclone, it's invulnerable. You need just enough more mana to get to 75. I don't know if the Night Elf player would have cycloned it again, but if you had, that might have been enough time to get that Windwalk off. So yeah, never, ever, ever, if you're in that situation, dispel your Blade Master. Never. You want him in the Cyclone. You want him regenerating mana. You don't want him to be mana burned. So being in a Cyclone protects you from all of that. And yeah, so very good. And now we can see down here, of course, the Elf so has this base. He is now on 2 base. And of course, the Orc has been on 2 base the whole time, while the Elf player was on 1 base. And the Orc player simply could not really take the fights. He couldn't really. He just kept messing up his positioning, again, messing up his spell casting. And so yeah, now he's in this sort of situation where, what is he going to do? Because he had the advantages before and he couldn't really do anything. And now he's in this situation where he doesn't have that advantage anymore, and he's still in a bad spot. Just alter reviving that Blade Master, level 5 Blade Master, alter reviving it. Again, the Elf player just now chilling out, waiting, going to build up an Ancient of Wind, it looks like. Maybe building another something down here, maybe no, just building a bear. And yeah, we have a Mountain Giant as well. 3 upgrades for the Elf player. So on his all of these lore buildings units, of course, Druids of the Talon, I can't really tell because they don't get upgrades unless they're in the flight form. None of them are in the flight form. There's a Thunderhawk, but you know, I don't think there are any more Fairy Dragons out on the field right now. Doesn't look like it. And yeah, the Orc player, of course, doesn't really benefit from upgrades with this army composition. He does have a Raider now. That could benefit, and those Troll Headhunters could have benefited a little bit, but again, not really making enough of those units to be worth the upgrades. Getting just Master upgrades on the Spirit Walkers and the Troll Witch Doctors, this is a big deal right there, and he did do that, no problem. Just going to go ahead and see a Shockwave being cast before this fight engages, just doing a little bit of damage to those 2 Druids of the Talon. I think also that Druid of the Default, but again, not really a lot. These Watchtowers might be able to do just enough to kill these Clockwork Tower Goblins if they come in 1 by 1, but if they don't come in 1 by 1, then yeah, if they come in 1 by 1, it's fine, but if they come in 2 at a time, as you can see, then this Watchtower takes a little bit of splash damage. Yeah, a little bit of poor micro actually from the Pocket Factory, from the Elf player right there, because if he was just holding those back, then he would be able to do a little bit more damage. But it's not a huge amount of damage. It's not a huge deal anyway. As you can see, not really a big deal at all. And this is a better position for that Pocket Factory. As you can see now, just 1 at a time can potentially actually kill it. It just depends on if, or doing some damage. Just depends on if this Watchtower is currently on an attack cooldown from attacking this Pocket Factory. And it looks like that's going to be just fine. Here we do see, of course, there's a Troll Bat right now. Over here, there's a Fairy Dragon being coming out of that Ancient of Wind. And here a Fairy Dragon is out already on the field as well. So yeah, this is just going to be one of those things where slowly but surely the Elf player is wearing down his opponent's army, wearing down his buildings. We do see another Bat Rider down here working on that expansion that's going up for the Elf. 1 more expansion down there, so now we can see the Elf working on getting to 3 bases. 2 Bat Riders are out on the field though. The Orc player just trying to buy a little bit more time for his whole army to get regrouped. Here, the Blade Master is back out at this point, level 5 Blade Master, very close to level 6. If he gets level 6 and he gets a Blade Storm, he needs enough mana for the Blade Storm, so he's going to have to keep the Blade Master kind of away from that Demon Hunter if he can, or buy a Mana Potion, one of the 2, or Clarity, something like that. And of course it chops all the way down here, so it's probably not going to happen, but he needs to have enough mana, which is I believe about 250 mana to get a Blade Storm off. I don't remember the exact amount, but I know it's over 200, and 75 mana for a Windwalk. So I mean, that's, you know, if he was full mana, he's going to get 150 mana burned from him from that Demon Hunter most likely, because of the fact that he is level 5. We might see the Demon Hunter going for maybe the Casters or the Shadow Hunter or the Tauren Chieftain, but that would be a mistake with such a high level Blade Master. I think you want to keep that mana low as you can, so it can't Blade Storm, because if you get a Blade Storm off, it could do a potentially large amount of damage if the Night Elf player is playing very aggressive with his position. He gets an aggressive position, and of course if the Knight player is aggressive positioning, then the Orc player will be defensive positioned. With that, coupled with a Blade Storm, could be just enough to take him down, take down quite a bit of the army. But we'll have to wait and see. Of course, we do see those 3 Bat Riders are going to actually be enough to cancel this expansion, actually kill it, in fact. I don't know if that was a liquid fire or not, but hey, there's a Quillbeast down here trying to deal with that. I don't think it killed any of the Bat Riders. As you can see, a couple of them are fairly low, but not enough to really make a big deal. And of course, we do have this healing ward up here, so plus a healing wave, gonna be able to do a fair amount of damage. Now we'll see if he can, if he does have the probably shouldn't be running him up this way. This is a bad idea. What are you doing? Just running straight into all of those dryads. Yeah, that was a terrible idea. As you can see, he needs 2 when they're in. Of course, they get a ton of armor when they go into their Mana Flare mode. That was that was an all-around terrible mistake right there. And the Bat Explosion does do physical damage, so armor does, of course, reduce the damage out of it. So, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Of course, yeah, with the armor plus the phase Mana Flare armor, it's just not going to happen. Of course, we do have a Troll Berserker down here. Going to go ahead and try to deny this expansion. Somehow going to be able to do so by himself. Maybe it was the threat that another Bat Rider could come out that caused him to do that. I have no idea, but really an odd play all around. You'll see, of course, once again, the Orc army just trying to get into a good positioning, and once again, the Elf player going to go ahead and start to do this damage right here. Here comes that Metamorphosis. We do need level 6, very close to level 6 on this Blade Master. All he needs right now is to get 1 more unit killed, and he will be able to go ahead and get a Blade Storm off if he doesn't get mana burned. And it looks like that might just happen right now. Coming in from that Beastmaster, the Beastmaster could go down. He does have the Staff of Preservation. The Beastmaster goes down. Of course, it was the towers, though, which means no experience picked up for the Orc player. Down goes the Bear. There's level 6 on the Blade Master now. Coming here with the Blade Storm, immediately Blade Storm, getting a really good position with the Blade Storm, as you can see, but he is being focus fired on that demon. The Blade Master gonna go down. Ouch, down goes the Blade Master. Of course, with that entire army from the Now player plus the Metamorphosis focusing on that Blade Master, gonna be able to take him down, no problem. As you can see, level 6 Tinker has been picked up. That is indeed a robotic form Tinker, one of the coolest things in the game, in my opinion, my favorite hero, absolutely. And he's going to be able to do 3 times damage to buildings when he attacks them. Of course, in this case, he's just attacking the army, and he can actually be repaired by workers as well to heal himself, which is really cool. But yeah, as you can see, this Orc player is unfortunately in a really bad spot. Gonna go ahead and call a good game, and congratulations to bufftalons. Again, some player on DkH, but I don't know who he is. And there you go. So that's a 46-minute game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I realize the Orc player made some probably hard to watch mistakes, but hey, overall I think that was a fairly enjoyable game. So maybe you guys enjoyed it, maybe you didn't. But yeah, there you go, and that's the game. And if you haven't checked out the Craftmaster 3000 video, the end of this, the machine ML link on the end screen of this is going to take you straight to that if you want to check that out. I think it's a pretty funny little parody, I would say, of like an infomercial me and some friends did last night, and so past couple of days, whatever, I don't know what day it is today, but if you want to check that out, it's meant to be funny. It's just 2 minutes long. Maybe you'll like that, maybe you won't, but anyway, so that's all I really have to say, and hopefully we'll getting up another cast tonight as well, but I don't know how long it's going to take to upload a 50-minute game on this internet. So if I can, I'll see you more tonight, and if not, I'll see you next time.